Welcome to Modern Entrepreneur. Today we have Destinee Berman, who has been called the secret visionary behind today's most widely recognized online schools in the intuitive arts and spiritual healing spaces. After 15 years in Silicon Valley managing accounts for Twitter, Oracle Marketing Cloud, IAC, Destinee left in 2014 and today is a launch strategist and manager behind many of the most successful programs in this industry, including Ashley Turner and Sienna Sherman's wildly successful Urban Priestess Mystery School, and Deborah Silverman's Applied Astrology Online School. Successes that have magnified their impact into the lives of thousands of women around the world. Thank you so much for being here.
Happy to be here.
So just to be clear, we were just talking about what it is that you do. So you actually took this like enterprise grade marketing education and brought it into the sort of like spiritual education space and are running launches for these women who are have these online programs. And also you have a program of your own teaching spiritual practitioners, what do you call them? Spiritual healers.
Business owners.
Business owners.
Yes.
How to run their own business. Is that about right?
Yes, that's right.
Awesome. So tell me what it's like. People hear about launches, and people want to talk about launches, and obviously people know where to go to buy like product launch formula and stuff like that. But on the ground, in real life, you're running a big launch. What does that look like? What does that work entail?
Well, there's a lot of work,
Yeah.
and I would say within Asana, as an example, there's hundreds and hundreds of steps, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, and typically people think they can just put a sales page up and launch in 2 weeks.
Yeah.
It's really 3 to 4 months of proper lead building, nurturing, engaging your people,
Mm-hmm.
and then you open cart and you do that in a very specific way.
Yeah.
So I would say generally 3 to 4 months if you're looking at multiple 6 to 7 figure launches.
What are we talking about? Lead nurturing of the existing list, or are you building leads, or what is happening in those 3 or 4 months?
Both. So there is building new leads with ads, right? Especially Facebook, Instagram. Then you're nurturing with videos, webinars are just a great way to nurture people. You're doing challenges, if that's your thing. You're driving traffic to a Facebook group, if that's your thing. So there's a couple of key strategies you can use for every single launch. You focus on that, and then you open. Now, I should also say that the multiple 6 and 7 figure are for teachers who have established an audience, and we're really looking to open up the online education space to the people they've been working with.
Now tell me what you think about the launch model in general. Like there's, it's been around a while now. Yeah. A lot of launches have happened. There are people who continue to run launches as a business model. There are also folks who are starting to feel like it's not really sustainable. Like you actually need to have a business that can sell every single day. As somebody who's run some of the biggest launches, what is your thought on this right now?
Okay, so launches are great, and I think that they're always going to have a market for launches. So let's say you're doing 2 launches a year of your flagship program. That's great, but you want to look at this as a whole business, and you have evergreen products, right? So maybe lower price point products, sustainable self-studies that you are building funnels on over time. You have higher end ticket items that are generally more profitable, especially if you build a bigger audience to convert. So you want to upsell, you want to cross-sell. But you can always have your strategic 2 launches per year. You just don't want to always and only rely on those 2 launches because it's a roller coaster, it's high pressure. So it's great for those infusion of revenue, but you also want to add in other products over time. Yeah.
Now let's talk about your business. You started off just a few years ago. We're in 2018, right? So 4 years ago-ish.
Yes.
And sort of built a consulting business. If you could go back and give yourself some tips now about how to make that process smoother, what would you tell yourself?
I would get mentors a lot sooner in the process. And what I kind of found was I was playing this game with myself where I'd be like, if I can get my business to this certain level, then I can join that mastermind, I can join that group coaching, I'll be good enough. And what I realized pretty quickly about 2 years in was, well, if I can put all of that aside, and I joined the right groups and get surrounded by the right mentors who can get me to the next level, I can accelerate 5 to 10 times faster. But you got to work through a lot of things when it comes to that, right? Whether it be being humble, accepting guidance, trusting other people. So I would recommend that for anyone who's starting their business.
Get help sooner.
Yes.
Get yourself surrounded by the right people. Now, one of the things I found, because I've certainly been in the groups and done the stuff, I found that a lot of people join the groups, and there's so much kind of tips and advice and this new strategy and why aren't you using ManyChat and what, and you and kind of like coming home after 2 or 3 days and like distilling that into some shit you're actually going to do. Yes. It can be like, so overwhelming that oftentimes it just doesn't even happen. How do you turn that experience into like an actionable plan? One
of my strengths is really focusing. So I can figure out what to prioritize based on resources, priorities, results like that. That's something that comes up though for all my clients and my students. It's like, well, how do I pick the top 2 or 3 strategies to really focus on? So a lot of that is just getting clear on your values, getting clear on, okay, I have 2 people who's going to work on this project. Where can I focus on that can move the lever the most to get to the next result and then build and reinvest from there? If you try to do too much, that's not going to help. If you try to do too little, that's not going to help. So it does take time, but I do believe that's doable over time, but it's really getting real with where you're at and then picking the 2 or 3 things to really focus on. Yeah.
So my next question is usually, what is your unique skill set? You just said it's about prioritizing. Do you feel like there's something else I missed?
I'm good at focusing and I'm good at shifting perspective. And I feel like that's where it's really helped me tap into this market because I'm essentially translating marketing automation language for a group of people, healers and teachers who maybe traditionally haven't even understood marketing, much less modern marketing. So I would say shifting perspective from being able to translate is really one of my strengths. And then focusing is right below that.
Right. Yeah. So let's just say that it's not going to be a likely story to teach the high priestesses eloqua, but maybe figuring out how to teach them how to focus and prioritize is possible. How do you do that? How do you teach somebody to figure out what's most important?
Well, so what I would say that it is possible to teach priestesses around the world modern marketing 101. So maybe you don't start with crazy segmentation, but you start with a landing page that converts. You start with email campaigns that have one call to action instead of a newsletter with 10 different things. So that's one. And that ties directly to focusing and prioritizing, right? Because you're asking people to do one thing instead of sending out 10 million different things. You're asking people to focus on watching one video, reading one blog. So ironically, it actually ties together. And in the beginning, it's a little crazy. For some people, they are not even used to using Google Drive, much less using lead pages and then Ontraport integration. But over time, it is doable. And I have seen amazing ritual and ceremony brought on Zoom webinar that previously wasn't thought possible. Yes. But it's a step-by-step process. Yes.
Got it. So in terms of growing your own business, what's working to get yourself new clients today?
That's a good question. Lots of ads. So I do spend a good amount of money on Facebook and Instagram ads, and then we nurture those ads.
Facebook and Instagram?
Yes.
And what do those ads say?
They'll drive to a free webinar, they'll drive to a lead magnet, or they'll drive to my waitlist page that I've retargeted new people on. So a couple of different entry points, and then I nurture them with a weekly email that typically drives to a short video. And so we build all that up. Most of my private clients come through referrals, so I take very good care of my clients, and that generates a lot of referrals as well. But in terms
for the high-end stuff,
correct? Exactly. Yes, exactly.
But for the rest of the business, it's ads, Instagram ads.
Instagram ads
work well. How's that working for you?
It's great. I mean, the targeting is layered in with Facebook. Yes. So. And a lot of the spiritual business owners, they love Instagram. And in fact, it seems less cluttery than Facebook itself. And it drives more engagement. Right, exactly. So it does work as long as you're nurturing people and you're getting exposure that way. And then also affiliates. So some of my best clients will share about me to their list and their audience. And there's a level of trust that just comes from that.
Yeah, so that's something that you just build up kind of like over time.
Exactly.
Yeah. Good. So what's next for you? What are you learning? What's the kind of cutting edge for you?
What am I learning? Well, currently I'm reading the book called Sacred Success by Barbara Stanny. And so it's really diving into expanding our power to earn and to grow. So that book's been really valuable. And then launching new products. So I'm launching a suite of new products for spiritual business owners to really learn modern marketing in a more accessible and foundational way. Yes.
But you've done that a bunch of times, right? Like these are you've launched products like left and right. Do you feel like it's much different doing it for yourself than it is for your customers?
It is very different.
Why?
My first launch, I went through my own initiatory process, and it was really intense because it's your name on the front.
Yeah,
and when it's someone else's, there's always some reason it didn't work or or could have worked better. When it's you, it's like all out.
Yeah.
Yes.
And so how did you deal with that?
I have a great team of, I have a therapist, I have my own spiritual teachers, I have my business coaches, my business coaches. So that's, that's kind of what it is. And you move through that because I was really committed to the vision, and that's what I tell my clients. So I need to walk my own walk. And so it was a couple of really intense days for my first cart, but we did a 6-figure launch and it was great.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Awesome. Let's see, can I ask, like, and if you don't want to answer, that's fine, but I'm just curious, like, you did a 6-figure launch, so you're like, in terms of, as an educator yourself, relatively unknown, right? Because you're known as a high-end launch manager, but as a product owner, maybe
not so much. I just launched in February.
Yeah, right. So you're like coming out of the gate, fresh as a newborn lamb, and you just did a 6-figure launch.
Yes.
So you spent 3-4 months in advance of that generating leads to what, landing pages and videos, is that right?
I don't know if all of this is going to make it, but for my first launch, I focused on affiliates.
Okay.
Because I knew that was going to get.
Yeah.
Yes, because I knew that was going to build the quickest amount of trust. So
sure.
I did buy leads, of course. I did my webinars. I did all of that.
Yeah.
But it was really, I had a big focus on affiliates that had people watched their work the last 3 years and they knew what they launched.
Yeah.
So all they had to say was that I was their secret weapon, and it was all true.
Yeah.
And then that drove a lot of the conversions.
Yeah.
Right.
There's something about actually having produced results that makes things work a lot easier, huh?
Yes, exactly. That's right.
Okay, awesome. So what's it all for? What would you like your legacy to be when you're years from now, when you look back on what you've spent your career doing?
2 things. So one, I would love for the conversation around astrology and psychic and mediumship to be normalized, right? So like yoga and like meditation have become mainstream. And there is a whole world of the intuitive and the mystical arts that can really be normalized and used in day-to-day life.
Wow.
And then 2, really enabling all these business owners who maybe weren't charging what they really can be charging and believing that they can venture into this space. I mean, many of my clients didn't believe they could have an astrology school that's so successful, or oracle cards, and it's just really amazing to see.
Yeah.
So more of that.
Yeah, awesome. I interviewed someone the other day who said, I asked that same question, and she said, I want to live in a world with more women leaders. And there's something like super powerful about that. Like, I'm not an astrology guy, as you could probably guess, but like just having that vision, like I want to live in a world where people take astrology seriously.
Yes.
is like there's some kind of like funk to that you go like, oh, I get what this is all about. And how important do you think it is to because there's a lot of people doing a lot of businesses that may not have that kind of like that sort of like heart connection with the ultimate big result. How important do you think that is to being successful?
So important. I mean, to be fair, I was very successful in my previous life, in the previous career, but I left because I wanted to do something that was more personally meaningful to me, right? So that was a great world, and I learned a lot, and I translated that, but I think it's so important, especially because having your own business, it's a roller coaster ride, right? I mean, you're growing every day. My spiritual growth has never been so expanded when I stepped into my own business, and I thought I had a challenging job before.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, I totally hear you. So there is something about really having the outcome matter that helps you get through the dips.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, I totally hear it. So what does it mean to be a modern entrepreneur?
To me, it's pretty much everything online, because that's been in my world from day one.
Yeah.
So using online marketing, segmentation, personalization, clean, intuitive experience. I can't really get away from any of that. So
yeah.
Yes.
So you think the defining like experience of being an entrepreneur today is about the internet and about experience.
That's right.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for being here. Really appreciate your time. That was awesome. Would you sign our wall?
Yes.
Thank you.